Like, how are you guys handling this? Because I can't. Like, they are hunting us down like animals. Like, and are you all okay with this? Just because we look this way? Just because of our names? Like, what? I'm so angry. Like, there is so much rage watching those videos of raids in construction sites, like on the street, and by Proud Boys, by white supremacists. They're hunting us down because we look this way, because we speak this way, because we go like. I don't understand how people are still defending this man. Like, I don't get it. Make me understand. Because I can't. I cannot wrap my head around you hunting people down because they look the way they look. Like, what? Okay with this? Just because we look this way?
It's a shame. And we feel, we can't help but feel for you, coming after Cuban people now. And all I saw during the campaign was Cubans for Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. Remember that song? And this is not to throw anything in your face because it is bad. It just is bad. Nobody deserves to be treated that way. And I don't know. How do you teach people? There was a lot of people trying to tell y'all what was coming if you chose this man. And a lot of you did. And it's a lot worse than we could have imagined, but we've always imagined the worst. You can't imagine or pinpoint exactly how it's going to go down, but it's not going to be good. And we as in not just black people, but those of us that saw through this administration, we knew, and y'all just didn't listen. You just did not listen. For whatever the reasons are, I think a lot of immigrants come here still tied to the old governmental ideologies and regimes and the ways that their governments were run in their country, and they're just looking for an easier or a lighter version of that, not taking into account that you're coming into a whole different world of government. Like, our government does not function, at least it didn't, the way yours did. But you throw away some of it, but you accept like this dictatorship mentality. And now you're finding out, and it's very sad. But stop coming on here fucking crying. That's the part that makes me angry. You ask if we're okay with that. No, we're not okay with it, but I certainly get angry when I see one of your crying faces coming up on here talking about what we should be doing and we should. No.
What is happening in 2025? Latino deportations are skyrocketing, and for the first time in decades, Cubans face serious threat. Why now? What is driving this crackdown, and who is getting swept up? Let's unpack the hard truth.
No. You can't uncook food. You've cooked the food already. The rice and beans are cooked. You can't uncook them and then try to put it someplace else. You gotta live with it. You gotta live with it. And the fucked up shit is he's not even sending y'all back to your home countries. That's the fucked up shit about it all. You didn't listen. You didn't want to listen for whatever the reasons are, and we could go back and forth about what that is, but you're not different in their eyes. If you've learned anything, I hope you've learned that. You are not, yes, it's because of your name, and yes, it's because of the way you look that sets you apart from them. And he played you. And he played you.
Now at 10, ICE operations continue in San Antonio. For a second day in a row, agents are seen arresting migrants at immigration court.
And look at this scene on the northwest side. 3 people who appear to be part of a landscaping company. They were taken into custody in this parking lot of the shopping center. Tonight, KENS 5 reporter Megan Reyna is following all these developments for us. Megan?
Well, Henry Easties, this is part of the Trump administration's push for mass deportations. We heard from 2 immigration attorneys who watched as their clients were taken into custody today after they showed up to their scheduled immigration hearings.
Crying out, "I don't want to die in Honduras," an emotional mother taken by ICE agents at immigration court Thursday. Another mother also placed in the same van. Her husband says she has no prior criminal history.
Mis hijas esperándolos en la casa. 6 niñas tengo que dependen de nosotros.
But like most arrested, she had just had her case dismissed by a judge.
We were requesting a merits hearing, and the judge declined to set a merits hearing because DHS asked for the case to be dismissed and the client to be ordered removed, saying that it was not in the government's interest to hear a full case.
These videos shared to us show agents in the lobby of the immigration court waiting for migrants, one agent even holding what appears to be a list with pictures. Shortly after, you see agents escort an entire family into a charter bus. ICE says these arrests are a part of the Trump administration's plans to reverse former President Biden's so-called catch and release program. They are now utilizing expedited removals. It allows them to fast-track deportations for people who have been in the country for less than 2 years. These arrests are evoking fear among people who have upcoming hearings. One attorney who's representing a man from Central Africa says the option for migrants to appear virtually for hearings appears to be gone. Her client also had his case dismissed.
I feel like we portraying people who's here with credible fears. Just knowing his story, I feel like I let him down.
But
I thought they said they were going after criminals. Those are babies. Those are children, mothers, landscapers. These immigrants are showing up to their immigration appointments trying to stay in this country the right way. And how do they get rewarded for being upstanding, doing things the right way? They get set up and they get deported. Of course, they lied when they said you get to stay if you do things the right way and you're not a criminal. These are innocent babies between the ages of 9 and 12 being zip-tied like criminals, while an actual criminal, 34-time felon rapist, leader of our country, is pardoning other criminals, the cop-killing J6ers and Todd and Julie Chrisley. This is what a lot of you Mexicans and Latinos voted for. Not only are you failures, you are the biggest danger to yourselves, your own family, and your community. What an absolute disgrace you are, MAGA Latinos. They are rapidly deporting Black and brown people, many who are indigenous to this continent, while simultaneously importing white supremacists from South Africa, which is an entirely different continent for those who don't know.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. I know I am. Church was amazing. Now I'm back home in my chill zone, just relaxing on a beautiful Sunday. But while I'm sitting out here relaxing, I was thinking about something I heard over the weekend, and that was that the Supreme Court upheld Donald Trump stripping away the humanitarian parole from 500,000 people. Yep. They gave him the right. They gave him the green light. So now he gets to strip away the humanitarian parole rights from these people that was protecting them from deportation. But the even more interesting part of that story is that guess who was like the first country that fell up under that? The first country that was listed was Cuba. So, isn't that ironic? Because Cubans in Florida alone, Florida statewide, they voted for Trump 70%. They voted 70% Trump. Now, nationwide, the American Cubans, they voted 54% in favor of Trump. Right? So you had this overwhelmingly support from the American Cubans. That means overwhelmingly they voted and ushered this season in upon themselves. And that precious humanitarian parole was something that they held near and dear because it held them above other standards of other immigrants, right? Because they had that status, they didn't have that worry. So they just knew that they were protected as they were going into those booths to vote 70% Trump in Florida. Now, fast forward to today. Trump honors and thanks you for your 70% support, for your 54 nationwide percent support. He honors and thanks you for that overwhelmingly support by stripping away the very thing that kept you here. That kept you not just here, but kept you here safe. So safe to the point that you thought that it would get you special treatment. You thought it would set you aside from the ones that you thought he was talking about. Yeah. It's eerie to the point how much support he had to do this to you. That's the eerie part. You overwhelmingly voted for him to do this to you because you thought you were hiding behind one little title that left you immune to everything that you knew he was going to do. And you can't say you didn't know he was going to do it because he ran on it. Every rally had mass deportation signs all over the freaking place. He never missed a rally. He never did a rally without harping on his his bloody mass deportation. And you better believe it's bloody. It's just not being shown because the tattoos and the body marks that they're showing with these mask-covered ICE agents, look at those tattoos. They're tied to white supremacist groups. He has let his people go on you. That's why it's so quiet. That's why you haven't heard anything from any of them. You know why? They're too busy being sent out on ICE patrol. They're being distributed all throughout the country to be ICE agents. And now they're living their wildest fantasy. I heard one young Cuban woman came on saying they're out here hunting us like animals. They really are. They really are. But what the really sad part about it is 70% in one state, 70% ushered this in. Nationwide, it was still over half of y'all ushered this in because over half of you were not thinking about your community. Over half of you were not thinking about your people. Over half of you were not thinking about your own families, friends, your communities. You weren't thinking about that. You were thinking about self. You thought you would stay tuckly behind that fence and it did. They wouldn't. You good because you got here the right way, because you know you got the humanitarian parole. You ain't that ain't your worry. So you went ahead and you voted because you thought it would not personally affect you, but you did not care how it would affect your people, your community. And now your community is, lashing out at us when they really should be lashing out at you. You brought this upon them. We didn't do it. We voted against 92, 92, 80. We voted against mass deportations. Well, y'all went as far as voting 70% for mass deportations. Let that sink in. And once y'all deal with those inside traitors, once y'all handle them, once y'all show that smoke to them, maybe we will listen to something you have directed toward us. But right now, while you sitting up here getting your anger and your resentment and your frustration and your hatred out, and you just lashing it out at us, we ain't even trying to hear it. It's not affecting us. It's not piercing 1 inch, because we know. It's just like they said, when you know you didn't do something to a person, when you know you ain't did nothing to a person, you don't have to worry about how that person feel about you. We know we didn't do this to y'all. Our numbers speak for themselves. Can you say the same? Can you say the same? And if you can't, you need to redirect your energy. You need to redirect your comments. You need to redirect your anger. This was a self-inflicted wound from your community. Our community did everything we could to protect you from this. But you're so much better than we are. You're so much more. We can't tell you anything because, you're too close to whiteness to listen to us. So you went out there on that limb and they chopped it off. So what you need to do, you need to get together with your own people. You need to quit getting on social media embarrassing yourselves, because everybody with half a peace of mind know this was a self-inflicted wound. And until you got that energy for them, don't come over here. Don't come over here. Don't come over here, because you're going to get your feelings hurt. But what you need to do is y'all need to go do some serious self-reflecting, and y'all need to deal with y'all own inner hate toward each other, because it was a lack of care. It was a lack of love for their own that let them go in there and voted the way they voted. So until y'all deal with that, don't worry about what's going on around here. We ain't worried about it. We were the only one. We were the only group that went in unanimously, overwhelmingly, 10 toes downly. We were the only ones. We ain't got time for it. We don't even want to hear it. We out here line dancing. We out here stocking up. We out here doing what we got to do. So I suggest y'all do the same. Anyway, before I get out of here, just one quick question. Cubans, the one that was voting for Donald Trump. Yeah. Is it great again yet? Just asking for a friend.
Political governmental manipulation. Here we go again. So now the Cubans are going to suffer because the Supreme Court gave Trump the okay to deport over 500,000 people, and some of those people are going to be Cubans. Cubans are going back home. And listen to this. You know what I realized? So one government says, come on in, come on, y'all are welcome, and they come in and that government gets elected because people are saying, oh my God, they're helping the Cubans. Fidel is doing them so bad, and here comes Biden, Clinton, all of them. Let's go, let the Cubans in, let them in. All right. So then they come in, and now they're going out. Right? Then also now, Biden open up the borders, let everybody in. Then Trump come in, they're going out. And innocent people that has been here, now a light is shined on them. The political parties just use the people just for their benefits, and they don't care about the people. We see this time and time again. This is crazy. So now Cubans that has been here, has the protection of being here because they flee, they're gone. Whatever they have established, families, whatever, gonna be broken up and gone. Back to a place that we know is hardship. Yo, this is just crazy. And the Supreme Court, that part, the highest court, one government said these people can come in and gave them asylum. Then the Supreme Court is saying, no, you can send them back. So what does that say? What does that say? Who do you believe? Not the government.
If you are Latino and your go-to phrase when asked about all the injustices that are happening with immigrants and with minorities in this country, if your go-to phrase is, well, I don't know much about it because there's nothing I can do and it really messes with my mental health, that is privilege, because the least you can do is be informed. The least you can do is grab your little phone that's already in your hand 24/7 and inform yourself on what is going on. That is the bare minimum. The injustices that are happening, the raids, there's just so much going on where not being informed is neglect. It's wrong. You cannot pretend that the world is a perfect place and keep on about your day because it doesn't personally affect you right now. This idea that because it's happening to others and it's not directly happening to me right now, that is why we are where we are. And it really goes for anyone. Being willfully ignorant is a choice. Because the same way, especially for other creators that use the Hispanic, the Latino card to get more followers and to get a platform, the same way that you can research lipstick colors and you can research the algorithm, you can research what is happening to your community, that same community that you rounded up to get you where you are and to get you money and to get you to the next step. The same way you can stand up. A lot of these creators, regardless of how big or small your platform is, are staying quiet because a lot of them voted for this. And it just shows people's true colors. And it's not come out and speak on it like you're an expert, but at least repost, at least talk about it, at least inform yourself. If you don't know, do the research. We live in a time and place where research is readily available. Talk to those who know more. It's not an excuse anymore, and it pisses me off.
And after the cases of special treatment, remember the wet foot, dry foot era, Cubans were safe, but that is over now. In 2025 alone, 82 Cubans were deported in April, with monthly flights resuming. And around 110,970 Cubans on the CHNV parole are vulnerable now that protection has been rescinded. On May 30, the Supreme Court cleared the way for mass deportations of Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. That, combined with Trump's playbook, resuming deportation flights are cutting parole options, means tens of thousands now risking losing their legal status. This crackdown comes as ICE ramps up deportations, 139,000 people by April 2025, and Congress funnels huge funding into enforcement. But here is the twist. Targeting Cubans once a political base is risky. Cubans Americans voted nearly 68% for Trump in 2024, removing their status now could cause serious political backlash. Latinos are anxious after the Supreme Court ended CHNV parole. In Miami, feelings are mixed. Some support the deportation of former Cuban regime officials. Others feel betrayed, fearing that even innocent Cubans could be next. This is not just about Cubans. Other Latino nationals from Mexico, Central America. This is not just about Cubans. Other Latino nationals from Mexico, Central Africa, Central America, Venezuela, Haiti, over 50,000 deported via 400 plus flights since early 2025 now face dislocations, kidnap, and detention. Worry runs high. Many avoid schools, hospitals, and public spaces. According to Pew, about 32% of Americans want all documented immigrants deported, but support fall sharply when it comes to families and protections. Now, Democratic and Republican Latino voters alike are rethinking their allegiance. About 70% of Latino Trump voters now feel regret as TPS and CHNV. There is more than legal status. It is about human beings, teachers, families, small business owners caught in policy shift. What can you do? Talk about it. Bring awareness to policy changes no one is covering. Support legal aid group. They help hidden families navigate deportation. Vote with empathy. If politicians break promises to those who supported them, hold them accountable. The US has always been a refuge. Today, that promise is fraying, especially for Latino communities. Cubans, once celebrated as freedom seekers, are now being deported. Haitians, Venezuelans, Central Americans, they are terrified. We cannot let history repeat itself. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.